Did you know that North Korea, also known as the DPRK, is one of the most isolated and secretive nations in the world? This is a nation that often feels like a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. It's a place where time seems to stand still, nestled between the pulse of modernization and the echoes of a bygone era. North Korea, or the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, sits on the northern half of the Korean peninsula. It's a land of stark contrasts and startling paradoxes, a nation that's simultaneously fascinating and confounding. Its isolation, secrecy, and unique political system often lead to misunderstandings, painting a picture that's as elusive as it is intriguing. This enigma of a nation has a story that's worth unraveling, a narrative that's as compelling as it is complex. So, buckle up and prepare for an enlightening journey. Now, let's dive into the intriguing history of this enigmatic nation. The story of North Korea began in the aftermath of World War II. The Korean peninsula, previously a colony of Japan, found itself divided along the 38th parallel. This division was a product of political maneuvering and negotiations between the victorious allies, specifically the United States and the Soviet Union. The North, under Soviet influence, and the South, under American influence, quickly evolved into distinct entities. The ideological differences between the two superpowers were starkly reflected in the divided Korean peninsula. As the Cold War set in, the two halves of Korea became pawns in a larger geopolitical chessboard. In the north, the Soviets appointed Kim Il-sung, a former anti-Japanese guerrilla and Soviet Red Army officer, as the leader. Under Kim's leadership, and with the backing of the Soviet Union, the North embarked on a journey of rapid industrialization and militarization. On September 9, 1948, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea as we know it today, was officially established. Kim Il-sung was named premier and later president. He introduced Juche, a philosophy based on self-reliance, which became the ideological bedrock of North Korea. The state assumed control of all industry and agriculture, transforming North Korea into a centrally planned economy. Meanwhile, the South, under the American-backed administration of Syngman Rhee, took a different path. They established the Republic of Korea, a capitalist state with a strong emphasis on democracy and economic development. The stark contrast between the two halves of the peninsula was emblematic of the global ideological divide of the time. Two Koreas, born out of the same land, yet so different in their political, economic, and social trajectory. And thus, North Korea was born, setting the stage for a unique political experiment. No history of North Korea is complete without mentioning the Korean War. The Korean War, a significant flashpoint in the Cold War, began in the summer of 1950, when North Korea, backed by Soviet Union and China, invaded South Korea, which was supported by the United Nations and particularly the United States. The war was a result of the political division of Korea by an agreement of the victorious allies at the end of World War II. Major events of the war included the rapid advance of North Korean forces south, the subsequent pushback by the UN to the Chinese border, and then a Chinese intervention that pushed the front back to the middle of the Korean peninsula. The war was brutal and devastating, with no side gaining a clear advantage, leading to a stalemate that resulted in an armistice agreement in July 1953. This agreement, however, did not bring about a formal end to the war or a peace treaty, leaving the two Koreas technically still at war. In the aftermath of the war, North Korea faced a daunting task of reconstruction. The war had left the country in ruins, with most of its cities and industrial areas destroyed. However, under the leadership of Kim Il-sung, North Korea embarked on a path of post-war recovery and economic development. The country established a centralized planned economy with all industry owned by the state. A key part of North Korea's post-war ideology was the principle of Juche, or self-reliance. Introduced by Kim Il-sung, Juche emphasized independence in politics, a self-sustaining economy, and self-defense in military affairs. This ideology has been a guiding principle for North Korea's domestic and foreign policies, and has played a significant role in shaping the country's unique path in the world. In the wake of the war, North Korea embarked on a path of self-reliance and nationalism. This path, although fraught with challenges, has allowed North Korea to maintain its sovereignty and distinct identity in the face of external pressures and threats. The Kim dynasty has been at the helm of North Korea since its inception. The first leader of North Korea, Kim Il-sung, came into power at the end of World War II. He was a former guerrilla fighter against the Japanese occupation and was backed by the Soviet Union. Kim Il-sung's rule was marked by a cult of personality that presented him as the great leader, the father of the nation, who would lead North Korea into prosperity. Following Kim Il-sung's death in 1994, his son, Kim Jong-il, took over. Known as the Dear Leader, Kim Jong-il was as enigmatic as his father. His rule was marked by a continuation of the personality cult, with elaborate propaganda machinery working to maintain his image as a benevolent and infallible leader. Yet, beneath this facade, the country suffered a devastating famine, leading to the death of hundreds of thousands of people. In 2011, after Kim Jong-il's death, his son Kim Jong-un assumed power. The supreme leader, as he is often referred to, is the youngest of the Kim dynasty. His leadership has been marked by a consolidation of power, purging potential rivals and continuing the cult of personality. Yet, he has also shown a willingness to engage with the international community, albeit on his own terms. The Kim dynasty, throughout its rule, has been shrouded in a carefully crafted personality cult. Each leader has been presented as a godlike figure, their images omnipresent in the lives of the North Korean people. This cult of personality, combined with a stringent control over information, has helped the Kims maintain a tight grip on power. However, the rule of the Kim dynasty has also raised significant human rights concerns. International organizations have repeatedly highlighted issues such as forced labor, public executions, and widespread malnutrition. The dynasty's rule, thus, has been a dichotomy of adoration fueled by propaganda and fear instilled by repression. The Kim dynasty's rule has been marked by both adoration and fear. North Korea in the 21st century continues to be a nation of paradoxes. On the one hand, it remains one of the most closed societies in the world, with a tightly controlled state media and a populace largely cut off from global internet access. Yet, on the other hand, it wields a nuclear arsenal that compels the world's attention. The political situation is a study in contrasts. The regime led by Kim Jong-un continues the Kim dynasty's iron grip on power. Despite speculation about his health and potential successors, Kim has maintained his hold, continuing his father's and grandfather's legacy of autocratic rule. Economically, North Korea is a conundrum. It is one of the poorest countries in the world, with a gross domestic product per capita that ranks among the lowest globally. Yet it has managed to fund a nuclear weapons program that has drawn the ire and concern of the international community. The economy is heavily centralized, with state-owned industries accounting for nearly all economic activity. Despite this, there have been signs of small-scale private enterprise, particularly in local markets, a development that could suggest some level of economic evolution. Internationally, North Korea's relations remain tense. Its nuclear weapons program has been the focus of ongoing diplomatic negotiations, with little progress reported. The nation's relationship with South Korea fluctuates between moments of relative peace and sudden escalation. Meanwhile, its relationships with other nations, particularly the United States and China, continue to be marked by a complex interplay of diplomacy, sanctions, and strategic interests. North Korea's nuclear ambitions underscore its broader strategic goal: to ensure the survival of the Kim regime. This aspiration, combined with the country's economic and political realities, makes North Korea a critical player on the world stage. Despite its isolation, North Korea's actions have global implications. Its choices and decisions reverberate far beyond its borders, affecting the geopolitical landscape and shaping the international community's response to the challenges it presents. The story of North Korea is as complex as it is captivating. From its birth in the post-World War II era, North Korea's journey has been marked by upheaval and resilience. The Korean War, a conflict that left deep scars yet also shaped the nation's identity, plays a crucial role in understanding North Korea's present. The Kim Dynasty, a lineage of leaders that has ruled the country with an iron fist, is another key piece of the puzzle. Under their reign, North Korea has evolved into the state we see today, isolated yet undeterred, continually sparking global curiosity and concern. In a world where information is at our fingertips, North Korea remains a fascinating enigma, a nation shrouded in mystery and misunderstanding. As we continue to seek clarity, let's remember that every country has a story filled with its own challenges, victories, and unique cultural tapestry. And North Korea is no different.